little flirtatious thing going on or whatever, but they're innocent, most of them, as a kindergartner.
Mm-hmm.
But when you start talking about this kind of stuff, I just think it's just another example. Here's Megan Warner, director of Associated Students of the University of California. Consent is not just for intercourse. It's for all aspects of our lives, and people aren't understanding or being taught that. I got nothing. I don't get it.
I don't know. I'm sorry. In kindergarten, I definitely was taught not to hit other kids. So
Right.
I don't know what they're going with
Say
on that.
please and thank you and
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. It's like I don't know what they're actually, why they think that argument actually holds water.
It's about the basics. Say please and thank you. You don't interrupt. Sit down when you're asked or told to sit down.
Raise your
But to
hand.
get it to, raise your hand. Don't blurt out. Basic social skills,
Yeah.
right?
100%.
Yeah. All right. So they also demand that schools meet federal and state requirements, including mandatory consent education. Again, we're talking about kindergartners. What else here? That all higher education institutions publicly release full. This is I don't know what I think about this. That all higher education institutions publicly release full data on sexual assault, domestic violence, and stalking reports, as well as data on the school's investigations, adjudications, and sanctions. Now, I would cut that list in half. I would say, of course, if someone has been not charged, but convicted of sexual assault, domestic violence, stalking, sure. But if it's based on, and we've seen these stories in the past, if it's just based on an accusation, and there are rules out there relative to that. Someone need just be accused of something. And what people like this are suggesting is that ought to all be publicly available. And listen, there's a lot of evil people out there on,
Well, yeah, and that's like already what's wrong with the sexual offender registry is that before they even go to trial, people have to register as sex offenders, even if it turns out that the whole thing was completely unfounded or anything. So yeah, this is just going to lead to more of this kind of a witch hunt.
Yeah, you can't put that toothpaste back in the tube.
Nope.
I've said this before. If I had young kids today, and the only way I could afford to send them to private school were to live in a tent, I'm saying grab a sleeping bag, the Coleman camping stove, or whatever, and sign me up. Because again, Michael Hausman is back. Michael, we're talking about this is out in Cali, several colleges, several higher institutes of learning. Demanding that sexual consent education happen to kindergartners.
Well, you know what? I guess, again, maybe it's just because I'm a Californian, Mike. Do you think sex should be had without consent?
Well, it depends.
I saw this. It's funny. I got back in.
I was kidding.
No, I know that, of course. But I got in, and I heard you talking about sending your kids to private school. And it's funny. I've got a friend of mine lives up in Los Angeles, and he sends his kid to a private school. In fact, Elon Musk's kid is in my buddy's kid's class.
Wow. I know who he is, but explain who Elon is.
Elon Musk is, among other things, he's the guy behind Tesla. But I think before that, wasn't he the guy behind PayPal?
I don't know about that, but he's also behind SpaceX, isn't he?
Yeah, but all of that stuff, Tesla and SpaceX.
He made his money at PayPal, is what you're saying?
Yeah. Where did Elon Musk get his money? He's the CEO of SpaceX. Solar City is another one of the places that he got his money. But yeah, the guy's, he's a billionaire. He's a 43-year-old billionaire. South African. Where did all his money? Yeah, PayPal. That's where he got his money. X.com, which ultimately was PayPal, and he got a couple $100 million. He was the largest shareholder of PayPal when eBay bought them. Anyway, so they go to this.
Just by the way, real quick, random. That the newest upper end, top of the line Tesla will beat most Ferraris 0 to 60, and it's all electric.
Oh, a buddy of mine has one, and the acceleration of the car is just absolutely insane. Yeah, it's amazing. Anyway, the school thing. This kid, he's a third grader. The school's roughly $30,000 a year to go to. And so it's one of the finest elementary private schools in all of Los Angeles. Right. And it is not a hoopy-doopy lefty. For example, it's immediately next door to the school that Gwyneth Paltrow went to, which is well known as hoopy-doopy lefty progressiveville. So this is a back to basics, reading, writing, arithmetic, pre-Ivy League elementary school track type of school. Okay. And it's completely non-religious. It's all about excellence and education type of thing. And my buddy, who's a libertarian conservative, is just constantly talking to the faculty and the principal and the teachers about one thing or another that is just driving him nuts.
Really?
Oh my gosh, with green agenda and global warming agenda and trans bathrooms. And so just sending your kid to a private school, even if it's one of the single most expensive private schools on the nation, doesn't necessarily guarantee that you're going to be free of hippy-dippy lefty nonsense.
Sure. You would obviously have to pick and choose. You said, is it your daughter attends a Christian private school?
Yeah, college.
All right, so college. So my son, smart young guy, I don't remember, fifth grade maybe.
Okay.
We took him out of we had moved around to the other side of the reservoir in a different school district and stuff.
Hold on a second. Moving around to the other side of the reservoir, is that some sort of colloquialism for other side of the tracks for Indiana or what?
No, you know what a reservoir is, don't you?
Oh, no. When you say we moved to the other side of the reservoir, I just
okay, so dude, you get to say like I moved down the beach, okay?
Okay, gotcha.
In Indiana, our biggest body, well, we're bordered by Lake Michigan on the top, but I mean, when you get away from the lake, our biggest bodies of water are man-made.
Okay, so that's when you say we moved to the other side of the reservoir, that's merely a locational reference.
Yeah, it's not actually nothing to do with the side of the track thing. I mean,
okay, I'm sorry. I just wanted to make sure.
No. In fact, when we moved moving on up, as they used to say on the Jeffersons. But unfortunately, that put us in a school district that was not the quality that my daughter went through in grade school. But anyway, so I transferred him to a private Christian school, and he was a smart kid anyway, but he needed a tutor for, I don't know, a semester or whatever, just to catch up with the level of stuff they were doing in that school. So to your point, I think, yeah, I mean, all public schools, I mean, let's be fair, aren't created equal, nor are all private schools.
Right, gotcha. Okay, sorry to interject about that.
That's fine. Listen, I want to talk to you about something because we got like 6 minutes left. I think this is fascinating, and I have not read it. I've just read a couple of first paragraphs. This post that you just put up, no, you did not put this up today. Vanessa put this up. But this what's in a name, turns out it might just give away what you do to earn a living. You sent me that, right?
Yes, I did. Yeah, I did not write it. Occasionally we will discuss, Mike, as you know, articles not written by you or I.
We hate to do that, but yes, we will.
Exactly.
No, we don't. But go ahead. Tell me. I think this is fascinating stuff.
Okay, yeah. So this thing is blown up already today too. It's called "What's in a Name." Turns out it might just give away what you do to earn a living. So what this group did is they went. It's an app to figure out babies' names or potential babies' names and the correlation for what is the likely job that they're going to have, or what their profession is going to be, what they're going to do for a living. So you put in the name, and it kind of lists the options. For example, if your kid's name is Trey, Richie, Mick, Eddie, Buddy, or Sonny, that's likely going to be a guitarist. And then they have a whole list in alphabetical order. For example, if you name your kid Maribel, Charmaine, Curtis, Mindy, or Adele, that's an accountant. Bud, Willie, Tommy, Bobby, and Johnny, that's a golfer. Now, let me see. Joe, Bill, Scott, Mike, or Jeff, meteorologist. Let me see if there's any that are particularly funny. Celia, Hannah, Edgar, Edmund, Dorothy, poet. Okay, here's a surprise. Guess what the profession would be likely if your name was Chaim, Shlomo, Judah, Meyer, or Yosef? Rabbi.
Yeah, that one makes sense. All right, but so I'm looking at the hairdresser one, and again, I don't got Phyllis on my brain today, but I think just something Phyllis should pay attention to. But so we have on the female side, we have Patricia and Susan. On the other side, we have Raymond. Well, we have Lori on the girl side too. But on the guy side, we have Raymond, Robert, and James.
Now, Mike, again, maybe it's just because I'm Californian, and maybe it's because I've grown accustomed to non-binary notions of gender. But why would you think the names Lori, Patricia, and Susan are female names?
Well, that's true. See, and I think maybe tomorrow, at least we should do it a couple of weeks as checkpoints. We should get back into, those three critical criteria by which we should be judged in terms of how we think about everything, including something like this. But you're right. I mean, shame on me for being so closed-minded to just automatically assume that those would be female names.
Exactly. Like if I told you that my son, Susan, is starting a new career, you're not going to say it, but in your mind, you're going to think, yeah, he's probably doing hair.
See, exactly.
Or, he's going to cosmetology school. Well, wish your son, Susan, the very best.
And then see on the other side, if you really think about it, I think it's just as bad to assume that even James, Robert, or Raymond are exclusively guys' names, because that should have nothing to do with it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I look at the name ranchers, Boyd, Leland, Leroy, Judy, and Roy, and I immediately think of Johnny Cash, and could be some guy named Sue.
Exactly. I get Boyd and Leroy, and what was the other one? Anyway, yeah, but I don't know. So if you get into this, how'd they come up with the theory here, with the thought process?
You know what it is? It's a company called Verdant Labs, and they, how did they get the information? It was I got a link to the blog post. It's a company called Verdant Labs. And it's basically just to figure out which particular things have which names are disproportionately represented in particular businesses. So it's not predictive, it's just more analytical going back.
Yeah, judgmental as hell.
That's exactly right, man. Hey, this has been The Right Mics with Miller and Hausum. Thank you so much for listening. We will be back tomorrow. Auntie Jody's got some tips for us, so we will talk to you then. Thanks for listening.
Bye.
This show is produced by IJReview.com.
This show is copyright by VLR Media. All opinions of panelists and guests are their own. and may not reflect the opinion of VLR Media, the host, or anyone else.